The age-old debate. Imagine trying to piece together a massive ancient puzzle, but half the pieces are missing, and the instructions are written in languages no one fully understands. That's exactly the challenge historians and archaeologists face when studying ancient Sumer and the enigmatic Anunnaki. We've uncovered thousands of clay tablets, intricate artifacts, and beautifully detailed stories, yet we're still far from having the full picture. To make matters even more complicated, scholars often disagree about what that completed picture is supposed to look like. One of the biggest sources of debate centers around translation. Translating ancient texts isn't like translating modern languages such as French or Spanish. Languages like Sumerian haven't been spoken for millennia, and many words have multiple meanings. Even small translation differences can completely change how we interpret entire passages. Take, for example, the descriptions of the Anunnaki. Some translations suggest they were literally those who descended from the heavens, while others argue the phrase is metaphorical, a poetic way to describe rulers or divine beings favored by the gods. That subtle difference drastically changes how we understand Sumerian mythology. And no discussion of this topic would be complete without mentioning Zechariah Sitchin, one of the most famous and controversial translators of Sumerian texts. Sitchin popularized the idea that the Anunnaki were extraterrestrial visitors who came to Earth and shared advanced knowledge with humans. His books fascinated millions, but most mainstream scholars remain deeply skeptical. Many linguists claim Sitchin misinterpreted or deliberately redefined key terms to support his theories. Yet despite these criticisms, his work continues to fuel passionate debate, highlighting just how complex and uncertain ancient translation truly is. Beyond translation issues, another major challenge is the fragmented archaeological record. Think about it. We're trying to reconstruct history from clay tablets and artifacts that were buried thousands of years ago. Countless pieces have been damaged, destroyed, still hidden beneath the sands. Even the best preserved tablets usually offer only fragments of longer stories, like finding a few torn pages from the middle of a book with no beginning or end. This incomplete record naturally leads to heated debate about how literally we should take ancient texts. For instance, the Sumerians described celestial bodies and planetary movements with astonishing accuracy, sometimes referencing objects that weren't officially discovered until modern times. Could they have known about planets invisible to the naked eye? In certain translations, particularly those by Sitchin and others, the texts mention a distant planet, often called Nibiru, said to orbit far beyond the known solar system. Main astronomers reject the existence of such a planet, yet the Sumerians clearly documented cosmic details that seem far ahead of their time. Even scholars who dismiss extraterrestrial theories admit there's genuine mystery in these ancient writings. Many attribute Sumerian astronomical precision to careful long-term observation, but even then, some details remain puzzling. How could ancient sky watchers without telescopes or modern instruments track planetary movements and lunar cycles so precisely? Interestingly, while researchers continue to debate these mysteries, academia often approaches them with caution. This isn't necessarily due to conspiracy or suppression. It's simply how scholarship works. Academic disciplines are conservative by nature. Theories that deviate too far from accepted history are often labeled as speculative or unscientific. Still, one has to wonder, does this cautious mindset sometimes prevent the exploration of truly intriguing ideas? Consider Göbekli Tepe, discovered only a few decades ago. Its massive, sophisticated stone pillars completely upended our assumptions about early civilization. Before its discovery, experts were certain that humans 11,000 years ago weren't capable of such complex construction. Yet, Göbekli Tepe proved otherwise, suggesting that civilization might be far older and more advanced than previously believed. Could similar discoveries still lie buried beneath the sands of Mesopotamia, waiting to rewrite history once again? This leads us to a crucial question. Should we dismiss these ancient accounts simply because they're difficult to interpret? Or should we keep digging, literally and figuratively, for deeper understanding? History shows that ideas once considered outrageous often become accepted truth once new evidence emerges. Finally, it's worth remembering that Ancient peoples like the Sumerians didn't see their myths as mere stories. To them, these tales were sacred truths, central to their understanding of the world, the heavens, and humanity's place within it. Wisdom passed down. We've already seen how astonishingly advanced the Sumerians were in astronomy and mathematics, but this raises an even deeper question. How did they acquire such precise knowledge in the first place? Historians typically explain it as the result of generations of patient observation and experimentation. Over centuries, early astronomers could have tracked the movements of the stars and planets, refining their understanding little by little. It's a reasonable theory, but does it really explain everything? The Sumerians weren't merely casual skywatchers. They were charting celestial bodies, predicting planetary movements, and performing mathematical calculations so sophisticated that it took later civilizations thousands of years to reach the same level. To say they achieved all this through observation alone might underestimate just how extraordinary their accomplishments truly were. Many scholars believe specialized groups of ancient astronomers devoted their lives to studying the heavens, recording what they saw night after night, year after year. Over generations, these careful records could have evolved into the precise astronomical systems we find in Sumerian tablets. This explanation feels logical, but it leaves one question unresolved. How could they have tracked such subtle planetary motions so precisely without telescopes or modern instruments? These weren't simple star patterns. These were detailed cosmic cycles and complex calculations, some of which remain astonishingly accurate even today. Could careful observation alone really account for that level of precision? This question leads us to another theory, cultural diffusion. This idea suggests that advanced knowledge often spreads from one civilization to another through trade, migration, or exploration. So could it be that the Sumerians inherited part of their scientific understanding from an even older, now forgotten culture? Consider Göbekli Tepe in modern-day Turkey, a site dating back more than 11,000 years, far older than Sumer. It features massive carved stone pillars and intricate architectural designs created long before humans were thought capable of such complexity. Could the builders of Göbekli Tepe or similar ancient groups have passed down advanced knowledge that eventually reached the Sumerians? It's certainly possible. Ancient Mesopotamia was a cultural crossroads linking Asia, Africa, and Europe. Sumerian cities bustled with merchants and travelers from distant lands. Through these encounters, ideas and technologies could have spread, blended, and evolved. The Sumerians may not have invented all their remarkable astronomy and mathematics from scratch. They may have inherited and refined it through generations of shared human wisdom. Their mathematical knowledge, for example, was nothing short of revolutionary. The Sumerians used geometric concepts thousands of years before the Greeks made geometry famous. Long before Pythagoras, they were applying sophisticated geometric and engineering principles to build mental ziggurats and advanced irrigation systems. Their mathematical brilliance was not only advanced, it was transformative. Yet, we can't ignore the Sumerians' own explanations for their knowledge. The myths of the Anunnaki, beings described as descending from the heavens to teach humanity essential arts and sciences. Most historians interpret these stories as symbolic, poetic ways of explaining the birth of civilization. But the striking detail and consistency of these tales raise intriguing questions. Could they reflect distorted memories of real encounters or events? Imagine early humans coming into contact with an advanced culture, so far ahead in technology or knowledge that it seemed divine. Naturally, they might describe such beings as gods descending from the sky, bringing wisdom to humankind. Mainstream scholars remain skeptical of taking these myths literally, but even skeptics admit that myths often contain kernels of historical truth, echoes of real experiences remembered and retold across generations. Perhaps these Sumerian legends preserve faint memories of genuine interactions, whether with advanced human visitors or forgotten civilizations lost to time. Throughout history, human progress has always been built on shared knowledge, each generation learning from those before it. Why should the Sumerians be any different? Even if we accept cultural diffusion or inherited knowledge as part of the explanation, there's still something uniquely advanced about the Sumerians' understanding. so advanced that some argue observation and trade alone can't fully account for it. Could their tablets be recording events or teachings that fall outside the bounds of traditional historical explanation? Mainstream academia is understandably cautious about such claims. Yet, discoveries like Göbekli Tepe remind us how much of our past remains unexplored and how often history surprises us. Could lost civilizations have passed down fragments of knowledge that shaped Sumerian science? In the end, we're left with three main possibilities. 1. Generations of careful observation building knowledge over centuries. 2. Cultural diffusion with wisdom inherited from older or neighboring societies. 3. Something more extraordinary, where the Sumerian myths of celestial teachers might contain a hidden historical truth. The third option may sound far-fetched, but then again, so did Göbekli Tepe before it was unearthed. Perhaps the Sumerians didn't gain their knowledge through chance or imagination, but through real encounters and exchanges that history has yet to uncover. So ask yourself, could the Sumerians' astonishing grasp of astronomy and mathematics truly have emerged from simple observation? Or might it point to deeper connections, forgotten civilizations, misunderstood encounters, or perhaps teachers from beyond our current understanding? Keep watching, because what comes next might completely change how you see the story of human history. Secrets in the sky. One of the most captivating mysteries surrounding the Sumerians is their astonishing understanding of astronomy, knowledge far beyond what we'd expect from an ancient civilization. Over 5,000 years ago, long before telescopes or modern instruments existed, the Sumerians charted the night sky with remarkable accuracy. They identified planets, tracked star patterns, and even predicted astronomical events that modern science has since confirmed. But how did they achieve this? Imagine yourself as an ancient Sumerian, standing beneath the vast desert sky night after night, armed with nothing but your eyes and simple measuring tools. Despite these limitations, the Sumerians didn't merely gaze at the stars. They analyzed them. They documented the precise movements of the planets and understood that these wandering lights weren't ordinary stars at all. They knew Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn each followed unique paths across the heavens, a realization that most other civilizations wouldn't make for centuries. Clay tablets unearthed by archaeologists vividly capture this insight. These records don't just mention planets, they describe in detail how each one moves differently from the stars around it. Take Venus, for example. Thousands of years ago, Sumerian astronomers already understood that the morning star and the evening star were the same celestial body, Venus. Their calculations of its movements were so precise that they continue to impress modern scientists today. To put this into perspective, think about how few people today can even name all the planets correctly. Yet millennia ago, the Sumerians systematically tracked each visible planet, mapping their paths with astonishing precision, and all without the aid of any advanced technology. Even more astonishing are the star maps found on their tablets, showing constellations exactly as we recognize them today. How could a civilization so ancient create such accurate depictions of the sky? Was it simply the result of generations of careful observation, or did they possess knowledge passed down from an unknown source? Their mastery of astronomy was built upon another powerful tool, mathematics. The Sumerians developed a unique numerical system based on the number 60, known as the sexagesimal system. This allowed them to calculate fractions, large quantities, and complex measurements with ease, the perfect foundation for precise astronomical calculations. That same legacy survives today every time we measure an hour in 60 minutes, or a circle in 360 degrees. Archaeologists have uncovered hundreds of tablets filled with meticulous mathematical and astronomical data, records of lunar eclipses, planetary alignments, and calendars predicting future events. One of the most famous examples is the Venus tablet of Ammi-Saduqa, dating to around 1600 BCE. This tablet, built on older Sumerian traditions, charts Venus's cycles with extraordinary precision, a feat that continues to astonish astronomers even now. Yet, a puzzle remains. How did the Sumerians achieve such advanced knowledge without telescopes, lenses, or modern instruments? Most scholars propose the simplest explanation: generations of patient observation. Dedicated skywatchers and scribes likely recorded what they saw for centuries, refining their understanding bit by bit. It's a logical theory, but it doesn't answer everything. How could they track such subtle planetary motions so accurately with the naked eye alone? This lingering question has led some researchers to consider another possibility, that the Sumerians inherited their knowledge from earlier, long-lost civilizations. Sites like Göbekli Tepe, built nearly 12,000 years ago, demonstrate that advanced understanding existed far earlier than historians once believed. Could cultures like these have passed down fragments of astronomical wisdom that the Sumerians later perfected? Then, of course, there are the Sumerians' own accounts, their myths of the Anunnaki. These stories describe beings who descended from the heavens, teaching humanity the secrets of mathematics, engineering, and astronomy. Mainstream historians interpret such tales as symbolic, poetic attempts to explain how civilization began. But the parallels between these mythic teachings and the real scientific knowledge found in Sumerian tablets are striking. Could these stories contain traces of actual events, distorted memories of real encounters or exchanges with a more advanced culture? What we do know is that Sumerian astronomy wasn't just theoretical, it was practical. They used their celestial knowledge to build the earliest known calendars, precisely timed to lunar cycles, planetary movements, and solar rhythms. These calendars allowed them to predict floods, plan agricultural seasons, schedule religious festivals, and manage the rhythm of their entire civilization. Their understanding of the heavens wasn't merely curiosity, it was essential for survival. And yet, even after decades of study, historians still marvel at the accuracy of Sumerian astronomical records. Tracking visible stars is one thing, but predicting planetary movements and complex celestial cycles with near-modern precision is something else entirely. Could the Sumerians have gained this knowledge through contact with more advanced cultures, or perhaps inherited it from civilizations that have since disappeared? We're left with profound questions. Were the Sumerians simply dedicated observers, guided by centuries of patience and mathematical ingenuity? Or could their detailed sky maps and precise records hint at something more extraordinary? Fragments of knowledge passed down from encounters that history no longer remembers. Perhaps their myths of beings descending from the heavens are not mere stories, but echoes of real experiences, knowledge once shared, then shrouded in legend. As we continue our exploration of these ancient mysteries, one thing becomes clear. The deeper we look into the Sumerian secrets, the stranger and more fascinating the story becomes. And what comes next might just change how we understand human history forever. Descended gods. When archaeologists first began translating the ancient Sumerian tablets, one name kept appearing over and over again: Anunnaki. This single word instantly captured worldwide curiosity. In simple terms, Anunnaki roughly translates to those who came down from the heavens, or in some interpretations, those of royal blood. But who exactly were these mysterious beings described so vividly thousands of years ago? According to the Sumerians, the Anunnaki were powerful entities who descended from the sky and played a vital role in shaping and guiding early human civilization. They were believed to dwell in a realm far above the earth, a place beyond human reach, yet they frequently influenced life below, sharing wisdom, teaching essential skills, and intervening directly in human affairs. Among the many Anunnaki mentioned in ancient records, three figures stand out most prominently: Anu, Enlil, and Enki. Anu, regarded as the supreme leader, was the god of the heavens, a distant yet watchful ruler who observed humanity from above, but rarely interfered directly. His son Enlil, however, was the opposite. Known as the god of air, storms, and authority, Enlil played an active role in human matters. He was powerful, strict, and often seen as a force of order and discipline. Ancient texts even attribute catastrophic floods to Enlil, divine acts meant to cleanse the world when humans became disobedient or disruptive. This story bears striking similarities to other ancient flood myths, including the biblical tale of Noah. Then there was Enki, perhaps the most fascinating of them all. Enki, the god of water, wisdom, and creation, was portrayed as compassionate and protective of humanity. According to ancient writings, he taught humans essential skills like agriculture, construction, metalworking, and irrigation. One Sumerian story describes Enki guiding people to build advanced irrigation systems that turned dry land into fertile fields, something confirmed by archaeological discoveries of remarkably sophisticated Sumerian canals and engineering works. A particularly famous tale, the Council of the Gods, describes a divine assembly debating humanity's fate. Enlil, angered by human behavior, decided to unleash a great flood to destroy them. Enki, however, secretly warned a human hero and helped him survive, ensuring the continuation of mankind. The parallels between this story and other global flood legends have long intrigued scholars, suggesting that perhaps these myths share a common origin. Interestingly, the Anunnaki weren't portrayed as flawless deities. The tablets depict them as emotional, complex beings, capable of jealousy, compassion, anger, and remorse. This human-like portrayal raises an intriguing question. Were the Sumerians crafting elaborate myths, or recording something that might have had a basis in real events? Across ancient Mesopotamia, countless carvings and tablets depict humans standing beside or interacting with these towering figures, sometimes even showing the Anunnaki using objects that appear surprisingly advanced for their time. Could these images be symbolic, or are they distorted memories of encounters with an advanced culture, perhaps one that predated known civilizations? Some historians suggest that the Anunnaki may have been real people, leaders or visitors from another region who possessed advanced knowledge and technology, inspiring the Sumerians to regard them as gods. Others propose that these stories preserve ancient wisdom passed down from a lost civilization, one that influenced early human development long before recorded history. Whatever the truth, Sumerian tablets undeniably contain complex mathematical, astronomical, and engineering knowledge the Sumerians themselves credited to teachings from the Anunnaki. While mainstream scholars interpret these tales symbolically rather than literally, even they acknowledge how closely the myths align with real archaeological findings. Whether viewed as divine beings, metaphors for natural forces, or echoes of ancient historical figures, the Anunnaki remain one of history's greatest enigmas. Their influence shaped not only Sumerian culture but echoed throughout later civilizations, leaving a legacy that continues to captivate humanity. But this raises an irresistible question. If the Anunnaki truly passed advanced knowledge to early humans, how did they do it? Did they walk among us, personally guiding early civilizations? Did they leave behind teachings passed down through generations, or is there an explanation still hidden, waiting to be uncovered beneath the sands of time? Whatever the answer, the deeper we explore this mystery, the more extraordinary and thought-provoking our past becomes. Origins of Sumer. To truly understand the mystery of the Anunnaki, we first need to explore the extraordinary civilization that gave birth to their legends, the ancient Sumerians. Between 4500 and 1900 BC, in what is now modern-day Iraq, the Sumerians built one of the world's first great civilizations, a society so advanced that many of its innovations still shape our lives today. Their homeland, Mesopotamia, meaning the land between rivers, lay nestled between the Tigris and Euphrates. It was a hot, arid region, challenging to survive in. Yet the Sumerians didn't just endure these harsh conditions, they transformed the desert into a flourishing center of life. Through ingenious irrigation systems, they diverted river water across the plains, turning barren soil into fertile farmland. Out of this success rose vibrant cities filled with trade, culture, and innovation. Imagine bustling streets lined with markets, craftsmen, and traders, surrounded by towering temples and lively festivals. Among these early cities were Eridu, and Uruk, the latter often regarded as one of the very first true cities in human history. At its peak, Uruk was home to tens of thousands of people, a thriving hub of commerce, religion, and art, the beating heart of early civilization. But what truly set the Sumerians apart were their groundbreaking inventions. Around 3200 BC, they created the first known system of writing, cuneiform, by pressing wedge-shaped marks into soft clay tablets. What began as a way to record trade transactions and inventories soon evolved into something far greater: laws, myths, prayers, and even records of astronomy. Thanks to these tablets, we've moved from speculating about prehistory to reading the words of ancient people themselves. The Sumerians were also remarkable mathematicians and astronomers. Their counting system, based on the number 60, still influences modern timekeeping and geometry, from 60 seconds in a minute to 360 degrees in a circle. Even without telescopes or modern instruments, they track the movements of stars and planets with astonishing precision. How they achieved such accuracy remains one of history's great unanswered questions. Their architectural achievements were equally impressive. The Sumerians built monumental ziggurats, massive terraced pyramids made of millions of mud bricks. These towering structures, often painted in vivid colors, dominated the skyline and served as both temples and symbols of divine connection. The famous ziggurat of Ur still stands today as a testament to their engineering genius, built so well it has survived for over 4 millennia. Beyond their technological mastery, the Sumerians were also visionaries in practical innovation. They invented the wheel, developed complex irrigation and drainage systems, and established organized education and administration. Many of the systems we consider fundamental to modern civilization, from city planning to record keeping, trace their origins back to Sumer. Archaeological discoveries continue to reveal new insights into their world. In the 1920s, excavations at Ur uncovered a royal cemetery filled with golden jewelry, ornate musical instruments, and stunning craftsmanship. These treasures proved that the Sumerians were not only practical builders and thinkers, but also artists with a deep appreciation for beauty and creativity. Yet beneath their achievements lay a profound spiritual depth. The Sumerians worshipped gods representing natural forces: rain, wind, fertility, and the earth itself. And among these divine beings, one group stood out above all others: the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki were described not as distant deities, but as active participants in human affairs, beings who descended from the heavens to guide, teach, and shape humanity. They appeared repeatedly in myths and temple inscriptions, often portrayed as powerful, and deeply involved in the destiny of humankind. Today, thousands of Sumerian tablets have been uncovered and translated. While many record daily life, trade, taxes, and agriculture, others tell extraordinary stories of creation, cosmic battles, and interactions between humans and the Anunnaki. This leads to an enduring question. Did the Sumerians achieve their incredible knowledge through centuries of human ingenuity, or do their myths preserve distant memories of real events or encounters we've yet to understand? Could these stories of divine teachers reflect ancient wisdom passed down from a lost civilization, or perhaps even something beyond our current comprehension? As we continue this journey, we'll explore these mysteries more deeply, because what comes next may completely change the way you think about the origins of human history.